Have you ever wondered why some ghosts never leave? It's not always because they're lost, and it's rarely because they're evil. Sometimes it's because the living keep telling their story wrong, and the dead are stubborn about the truth. Tonight I'm taking you to St. Francisville, Louisiana, to a house with white columns and moss-heavy oaks, and a silence so old it feels alive. They call the Myrtles Plantation one of the most haunted homes in America. 12 ghosts, they say, 10 deaths, a mirror that holds faces. But the most famous spirit there isn't some soldier or rich man or woman in lace drifting down a staircase. It's a young, enslaved girl named Chloe. And the question that's followed her for 200 years is a simple one. Did Chloe haunt the Myrtles because of what she did, or because of what was done to her? Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you're going to know the answer. And baby, it is not the one the tour guides sell. First, let me put you where we are. Louisiana, early 1800s. Land so rich the soil looks like chocolate cake, and air so thick you wear it like a second skin. Summer down there doesn't visit, it moves in. The heat sits on your chest at noon, and it's still sitting there at midnight, and everything green grows like it's trying to swallow the world back up. The Mississippi runs close by, wide and brown and patient. The kind of river that has seen everything and kept every secret it was ever handed. Old folks used to say the river doesn't forget a face, it just carries it downstream until somebody's ready to remember. The house went up in 1796, back when they still called the place Laurel Grove. A wide white porch, a long veranda where the evening light comes in gold and slow. Oak trees older than the country itself, dressed in Spanish moss like mourners who never went home. In photographs, the place looks peaceful. Honeymooners book it. Ghost hunters film it. Tourists sip lemonade on that veranda and talk about how charming it all is. But peace can be a costume. Because a plantation was never just a pretty old house. It was a machine dressed up as a home. A place where beauty got built on somebody else's pain, where chandeliers glowed over polished floors while human beings were bought, sold, and worked like tools in the fields outside. The china was imported, the silver was polished, and the hands that polished it didn't own themselves. By 1830, more than 30 enslaved people lived and labored on that property. They cooked every meal that ever came out of that kitchen. They raised the children, tended the sick, buried the dead. And we know almost none of their names. Hold on to that, because that silence, that great erasing, is the soil this whole story grows out of. When you steal a person's name, their story doesn't die. It just goes looking for another way to be told. Chloe worked inside the main house, and I know how that sounds. People hear house servant and they think it meant easier, safer. It didn't. Inside didn't mean safe. Inside meant close. Close enough to power to be used by it, and close enough to secrets to be punished for hearing them. But let me tell you who she was before the legend swallowed her whole. She was young, maybe late teens, early 20s, and she knew that house better than the family who owned it. She knew which floorboards complained under a careless step, and which doors swelled shut in the summer heat, and exactly how long the judge lingered over his coffee before his mood turned. She knew the rhythm of that family's life the way you know a song you never chose to learn, because her survival depended on knowing it. She moved through those rooms quiet as breath, not because she was timid, because quiet was a skill, and she had mastered it. And the stories say the Woodruff children loved her. Picture that for a second. A girl who owned nothing. Not her time, not her body, not her own tomorrow. Humming low while she braided a little girl's hair. Slipping the youngest an extra bite of sugar when nobody was watching. Telling them stories at the edge of sleep. The kind her own grandmother might have carried across an ocean in her chest because it was the only thing they couldn't take from her. She was gentle, in a house that had never once been gentle with her. That was Chloe. Remember her like that, because the world is about to break her. Some versions of the legend say Judge Clark Woodruff, the man who owned that house and every soul in it, took an interest in Chloe. And I want to be careful with my words here, because interest is doing a lot of dishonest work in that sentence. She could not say no. That is what it meant to be enslaved. There's no romance in an arrangement like that, only power, and the person trapped underneath it. So Chloe did the only thing powerless people have ever been able to do. She listened, ear pressed to doors, breath held, trying to catch whether her name came up in rooms where her whole future could be decided without her permission. Would she be kept? Sold off? Sent to the fields where women broke down by 30? In her world, information wasn't gossip. Information was survival. And one day, she got caught. The punishment came swift and cruel, and it was designed to do more than hurt her. It was designed to mark her. They cut off her ear. Sit with that for a moment. A girl punished for listening in a world where nobody ever listened to her. Afterward, she wrapped her head in a green turban to hide the wound, and she kept right on working, kept serving, kept smiling at those children. But something in her had shifted, because now, every mirror in that house showed her the same truth. She was one mistake away from disappearing. And I'll tell you something. That green turban is the first haunting of the Myrtles. Not the ghost, the wound. Fear does something to a person, especially fear with no exit. Chloe began to make a plan, and here's where you need to understand her thinking, because the tour guides get this part all the way wrong. She didn't want revenge. She wanted to be needed. The plan was to make the family sick, just sick, and then nurse them back to health so tenderly, so skillfully, that the Woodruffs would decide she was far too valuable to ever send away. Think about what that really means. She was trying to purchase her safety with their suffering, because suffering was the only currency she had left. And that is a dangerous thing to teach a human being, that love has to be earned through usefulness, and that the moment you stop being needed, you can be thrown away. Now, Chloe knew plants. Most enslaved women did. That knowledge came across the ocean and survived when nothing else was allowed to. Roots and leaves, what heals and what harms, and the thin line between the two that only skilled hands can walk. Growing wild all over that property was oleander. It's a beautiful plant, all pink blossoms and glossy green leaves, the kind of thing that looks like a blessing from a distance. But oleander is a killer. Every single part of it, the flowers, the leaves, the stems, all of it poison. The legend says Chloe crushed those leaves and folded them into a birthday cake. Soft and sweet and pretty enough to be trusted. Maybe her hands shook while she did it. Maybe she prayed. Maybe she kept whispering to herself, just enough to make them need me, just enough to survive. But hear me on this. Poison does not negotiate. and survival is a blade with no handle. Once it cuts loose, it doesn't stop to ask who deserves blood. The cake was served that evening. Judge Woodruff didn't touch it, but his wife Sarah did, and so did 2 of the children. The children, y'all. The same children Chloe hummed to, the same little heads she braided. By nightfall, the house wasn't quiet anymore. Fever and sickness, small feet running across old floors, women crying, somebody calling for a doctor and somebody else calling for God. And Chloe stood in the doorway of her own plan, watching it rot right in front of her, because they didn't recover. Sarah Woodruff and 2 of the children died. And in that single night, Chloe stopped being a wounded girl trying to survive. She became a murderer, a problem that had to disappear before the master's grief hardened into rage. There was no way back from this, and everybody in the quarters knew it. It wasn't Judge Woodruff who came for her. It was the other enslaved people. They dragged her from her bed in the dark, carried her out to a tree on the grounds, and they hanged her. Not because they hated her, because they were terrified. They understood that punishment on a plantation never stayed with just one person. It supervised, and one girl's desperate act could easily become everybody's death sentence. So they sacrificed her to save themselves. That might be the coolest truth in this whole story. Oppression doesn't just hurt people. It turns frightened people into each other's jailers. When it was done, they weighted her body and gave her to the Mississippi. No funeral, no stone, no song, just water. And the river took her the way it takes everything. But the house did not let go. Because after that, people started seeing her. A woman in a green turban standing between the buildings at dusk, watching from the veranda, appearing at the far end of a hallway, and gone before anyone could get close enough to speak. In the 1990s, a visitor took a photograph of the grounds, and when it was developed, there was a figure standing near the old quarters, translucent, in period dress, with a head wrapped in cloth. People still argue about that photograph today. Guests wake in the night feeling watched. Things move that shouldn't. And handprints keep appearing on a mirror in the main house. A mirror that, according to legend, was never covered after the deaths the way custom demanded. So the spirits of Sarah and the children got sealed inside the glass, a family trapped behind their own reflection, while Chloe walks the halls just outside it. The poisoned and the poisoner chained to the same floorboards. Now let me tell you about one guest. She wakes at 2 a.m. No sound woke her, no dream. She's just suddenly awake. The way you snap awake when someone enters the room. The air feels thick. Not hot, not cold, just thick. Like the whole house is holding its breath. Then comes a soft sound, a brush of fabric, moving along the wall, closer than footsteps. She whispers, "Hello?" And nothing answers. But in the mirror across the room, there's a shape. A woman, with green cloth wrapped around her head, standing behind the guest's own reflection. She isn't angry, and she isn't smiling. She's just looking. And somehow that's worse. Because rage has a shape, and hate has a temperature. But sorrow just stands there. The guest turns around. The room is empty. She looks back at the mirror, and the woman is closer now. close enough to see her face. Young, tired, one side hidden by the cloth, eyes dark with something older than death. Then Chloe raises one finger to her lips. Shh. The room fills with the smell of cake, sweet and warm and wrong. The mirror fogs over from the inside, and in that mist, pressed there by no hand anyone can see, a single word appears. Listen. So, I promised you an answer. Did Chloe haunt the Myrtles because of what she did, or because of what was done to her? Here it is. She haunts because of what was done to her, and what she did was part of what was done to her. Follow me now, because this is the heart of it. That system poisoned everyone in the house long before any cake was ever baked. It poisoned the master with power. It poisoned the quarters with a fear so deep that frightened people hanged one of their own. And it poisoned Chloe with a lie. The lie that she could only be safe if she was useful. Then one day, all of that poison found its way into a birthday cake. That's the real horror of the Myrtles. Not that the dead come back, but that the living create ghosts, and then act surprised when the walls start talking. They cut off her ear for listening. They silenced her at the river. And for 200 years, the very place that profits off her name has retold her as a jealous villain. She isn't asking us to run. She's asking us to remember her correctly. Gentle before she was desperate. Human before she was a ghost. Cornered by a world that gave her no clean choices and then blamed her for choosing. That's why her finger goes to her lips. That's why the mirror says listen. Because all her life, listening got her punished. Now she waits in that house, patient as the river, until somebody finally listens back. The Myrtles is still open, you know. You can sleep there tonight, if you're brave enough. And if you wake at 2 a.m. and the air goes thick, and you catch sight of a woman in a green turban standing at the edge of the mirror, don't scream and don't run. Don't call her evil, don't call her innocent, and don't call her a legend and walk away. Just say, I hear you. And maybe, for one night, that old house will finally exhale. Before you leave, I need to know what you see in the static. Was it a hoax? An elaborate lie? Or a truth that refused to be forgotten? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If you live for the stories that refuse to be buried, hit the subscribe and notification buttons. Remember, not every legend is dead. Not every ghost is gone. And there's some doors that should never be open. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and for heaven's sake, stay spooky.